Hello, friends, and welcome to today's episode of the Self Improvement Project. I hope you're well. I hope you've had a nice week. And I hope wherever you are in the world, you're enjoying some of the longer days. The skies seem brighter, even if it is that they're just brighter for longer. And I always feel like this time of the year provides a little bit of hope. The possibilities that might exist over the next few months and year. And we always come round in this cycle, just as life works in its seasons, but the hope is fresh. It's a clean slate, a fresh start, regardless of what has happened in the past nor what is going to happen in the future. I think by having this fresh hope, it always allows us to continue to dig our heels in and almost have that reignited drive for whatever it is that we want to achieve. Today I want to talk to you about the self-improvement sweet spot. Just an idea that from my own experience I feel might be helpful for you. So obviously, if you don't want to live a simple and joyful life, you can stop listening. But hopefully, with some of the tips that I share with you today, that can sprinkle a little bit of wholesomeness into your life. Or a little bit of sweetness, I guess, if we're talking about the sweet spot. So, I talk about it from a self-improvement perspective, not just because of the podcast, but because self-improvement is such a wide range of things now. You could find each end of the spectrum with extremities around what self-improvement entails. From controlling everything in your life to being a minimalist and everything in between. So I just want to share some of my own thoughts, like I say, in my own way, in my own style, that can hopefully resonate with you today. Now, the first thing is going to be about the idea of optimizing or optimization. Whenever we start out with self-improvement or personal development, however you want to coin it, we get a real high in motivation off of controlling things. Now, when we go through this experience, this process, we feel benefits probably immediately, and then they start to taper off with the effects. Not just with the effects that it has on our growth and our progress, but just on our motivation to do so as well. At the same time, when we optimize nothing, then we can sometimes feel a little bit empty. We feel a bit lost. We feel like we lack direction and purpose. So this in-between is almost finding the things where we can get the most results out of. It can be really useful from a stacking perspective, from the things that you do, and the natural stacking of the next thing comes because of that behavior. It's very habit driven, very well versed in the area of habits and behaviors. But there does need to be a looseness. There needs to be a bit of life in that. There needs to be a bit of spontaneity and fun. It's what is the spice of life. But I think for the sweet spot that we're trying to find, if you have a handful of things that you can optimize at one moment rather than everything, the overriding message here, the simplicity, is that it lets you live. When we over-optimize, we are too controlled and too rigid. When we are under-optimized, we lack that direction. That sweet spot is enough discipline for self-respect and self-love, but enough looseness to allow us to enjoy the spice of life. To enjoy the little things that our personality may offer. The fun behind having interests. So I would say take a look at the state of your sweet spot with optimization just now and think just how it could shift 1%. How could you under or over optimize by 1% even this week to help you start to find that sweet spot for you? A warning I would heed is that at this different stages of life it does change as well. The next thing I want to encourage you to do is to think about the idea of elimination. Now, what we think improves our life is adding things or adding more things that make us happy. We're trying to find happiness. We're trying to find things that bring us joy. And whilst that's all good, as I sip my coffee that brings me joy, there is the concept and idea of actually eliminating the things that make you unhappy. Obviously, the more things that we add that make us happy, we then become a little bit exclusive with those things. Because if we have those moments where we can have those things, those are our happiest points of the day. However, if we have lots of things in our life that make us unhappy, the topping up of happy things is not going to get rid of that unhappiness. What we need to do is we need to eliminate those things. We need to eliminate the things that make us feel bad, that make us feel like we don't want to continue along the lines of those things. If you have a job that you hate, you need to remove that job and find another one or an alternative path to increase your happiness, for example. Likewise, socially, if there's people or groups that make you unhappy, you need to remove them to become happier, not get more friends or make new contacts. That's not going to make you happier. And again, there is this idea of reduction here. With how life is at the moment, we always are drawn to more. Over-optimizing. More things that make us happy. We think those are the cure to the problems and issues that we have, but we actually need to reduce, under-optimize, reduce the things that make us unhappy, and that will allow the other things to be more in the spotlight, for us to draw more energy and more happiness from those things that are less. It's like taking a higher concentration out of smaller or less things rather than a little bit of concentration from everything. Again, maybe something to ponder this week is what things could you eliminate this week that would make you happier on your day-to-day? Or is this a bigger project that you need to work on? And the last thing for the self-improvement sweet spot that I want to encourage you to do is to get lost in the interests and art and hobbies and the creatives that you have in your life. The time spent on these things as we get older can sometimes feel much less. Yet those are the things that allow us to get outside of the box, get outside of the day-to-day thinking that allows things to pass too quickly. It's allowing you to be an individual. It's allowing you to find new realms of thinking in your life. Art, creativity, hobbies are what make you interesting. And I say this because I keep getting wonderful encouragement from others around this podcast, even though the times have changed since having a child with it. But as time goes on, I realise that this is not about the metrics. This is about the sacredness and the pursuit of something that should be fed and watered and taken care of. But it is a bit of all of those things. It's a bit of creativity. It's a bit of art. It's the idea of using it to give back to the world with nothing in return. No expectation of anything in return, rather. But we don't explore enough. We aren't content enough with not having the patience to develop these interests. Do we have the boldness, the brashness, the confidence in ourselves to say, yeah, I enjoy that, without the shame of other people not? Especially people that are maybe close to you, or that matter to you, or that you want respect from. But as time goes on, and the years go by, we don't want to feel like we've wasted our time not exploring the things that might matter to us. It is a privilege in life to be able to explore things that might pique our interest with no rhyme or reason. We don't need to justify ourselves to anybody. But a major thing lacking in the self-improvement space is the leaning into art, the individualism. More people need to do it to give back to the world, to inspire other people. There's not enough people out there sharing things that interest them or that they want to develop with zero expectation of return. We need it more than ever because of how poor quality a lot of things on the internet are now as well. If there's people with genuine desire to impact the world in a positive way with nothing in return being expected, then just think of the joy that you could sprinkle into other people's lives by doing so. So my last challenge, I've challenged you with optimizing, I've challenged you with eliminating things that make you unhappy. I challenge you to pursue art, to pursue creativity, to pursue something that could add value to the world, but the bottom line is that you have no expectation of anything in return. The only expectation you have is that it gives you back the feeling of self-worth and that you've contributed. Because that's ultimately all you need. But that's a form of self-improvement, self-care, self-love in its own way. So that's why it belongs in the sweet spot. Guys, I'm going to close there today. I hope you've enjoyed those thoughts/ramblings. And if you have any thoughts, please leave a comment or write to me in an email. The number one thing that is my favourite thing about this, putting it out into the world, is the responses that I get. So any emails, any thoughts are always appreciated and respected. So have a great week, everyone, and I will see you all next time. Cheers.